Hi everyone. This is Miss Thomas with two more cities in the West, Seattle, Washington, and Portland, Oregon. So the best place to see Seattle, Washington is from the top of the city's most famous landmark, the Space Needle. An elevator lifts you 52 stories above the ground. From there, you can look out at Seattle's skyscrapers and the ferry boats crossing Elliott Bay. The Space Needle was built for the 1962 World's Fair. Even today, it looks like something out of the future. Seattle is a bay city. Homes, tourist attractions, businesses, and the shipping industry compete for waterfront land. Seattle is in the northwestern corner of the United States, about 100 miles south of the border with Canada. The city lies next to a large bay of the Pacific Ocean. Mountains surround it. Seattle has a mild, rainy climate. The city is often cloudy or foggy. So you can see Seattle at the bottom of this table with its average January temperature of 47.2 and its average July temperature of 75.7. History. Seattle was founded in 1851 by a small group of settlers. The city grew rapidly in the late 1800s with the growth of the timber industry. The discovery of gold in the Yukon Territory of Canada in 1896 transformed the city. Miners poured into Seattle on their way to the gold fields. When the gold rush ended, many of them settled in the city. And there's Seattle, Washington. It's Washington's largest city, and you can see it on the map of the United States in the top northwest corner of the United States. Population. In 2013, more than 650,000 people lived in Seattle. You can see the table at the end of the lesson. Let's go back to that actually. So Seattle, the population, you can see it's 652,405. So it makes it one of the largest of the seven we're studying. So more than 3.5 million people live in the surrounding area. This is one of the fastest growing areas in the United States. Whites make up just over 2/3 of Seattle's population. The next largest groups are Asian Americans, more than 1/10 of the population, African Americans, about 1/10, and Latinos, less than 1/10. Economy. Seattle is an important U.S. shipping port. From the city's ports, many goods are traded with Japan and the rest of Asia. Fishing and the lumber industry are also important to the economy of Seattle. For many years, most jobs in Seattle were at a company that made airplanes. Today, many people work in the computer industry. Seattle has more than 5,000 acres of public land. People enjoy miles of trails on which they can cycle, skate, jog, and walk. The nearby mountains offer excellent skiing, climbing, and hiking. Mount Rainier is a favorite hiking destination, and the area's many lakes make boating and fishing popular pastimes. Seattle has three major league sports teams. They are the Mariners, baseball, the Seahawks, football, and the Sounders, soccer. And miles of paved trails make Seattle a great city for outdoor activities. On clear days, Mount Rainier is a spectacular sight. So this is the second city for this video, and it's Portland, Oregon. You can see in the picture the Willamette River winding through Portland. Goods going to California during the gold rush traveled via ships on the river. Portland, Oregon. In spring, roses bloom in gardens all over the city of Portland, Oregon. In fact, one of Portland's biggest attractions is the International Rose Test Garden. Here you can see 10,000 rose bushes and more than 500 varieties of roses in all colors. Some people call Portland the City of Roses. Geography. Portland sits on the banks of the Willamette River in northwestern Oregon. The city lies in a fertile valley between the coast and Cascade Mountain ranges. Portland has a mild climate with heavy rains in the late fall and winter. Here's that on the table. So you can see Portland sort of in the middle there with its average January temperature of 47 degrees and its average July temperature of 80.6. Portland, the history of Portland. Portland got its start in 1845. Settlers arrived by the thousands over the Oregon Trail. During the California Gold Rush, Portland grew rapidly. Settlers sold lumber and grain to miners and their families in California. Portland continued to grow at a steady pace. In 1905, a World's Fair brought 3 million visitors to the city. Many of them decided to stay. In the 1930s, dams on the Columbia and Willamette rivers provided cheap electricity. This brought a number of industries to Portland. During World War II, thousands of workers arrived in the city to build ships for the United States Navy. Population. In 2013, Portland's population was more than 600,000 people. You can see that on the table. Portland, the population 609,456. Once again, it's in the running for one of the most populous. So more than 2 million people live in the city and its surrounding areas. About 3/4 of Portland's residents are white. Most of the rest of the population is divided equally among Latinos, African Americans, and Asian Americans. Economy. People in Portland work for many different kinds of companies. Some companies make paper, others make clothing and shoes. Portland also has new businesses such as computer software companies. The city's busy harbor has been home to shipping companies for years. Ways to have fun. Portland has many parks and open spaces. Forest Park covers nearly 5,000 acres. It is one of the largest natural areas inside a U.S. city. Mount Hood, located less than 50 miles away from Portland, is a great place for skiing and other winter sports. Portland has two major league sports teams, the Portland Trail Blazers basketball and Timbers soccer. And people of all ages enjoy walking and hiking in Portland's many parks. From Mount Tabor Park, you can see the downtown center. So the big idea of these two Western cities and what attracts people to them is really the same as the other three that we've already talked about and the two that are remaining. And those attractions are scenery, climate, diverse populations, new businesses and industries, and recreational opportunities. Once again, the five are scenery, climate, diverse populations, new businesses and industries, and recreational opportunities. I really hope you enjoyed learning about Seattle, Washington, and Portland, Oregon.